ਸਤਨਾਮ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ। ਮੂੰਹ ਕੂਚਰੈ ਸ਼ਾਸਤਰ ਖਟ, ਸਿੰਘ ਗਿਰਨ ਚੜ ਜਾਏ। ਅੰਧ ਲਖੈ ਬਦਰੋ ਸੁਣੈ, ਜੋ ਕਾਲ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕਰਾਏ। ਗੋਬਿੰਦੇ ਮੁਕੰਦੇ ਉਦਾਰੇ ਅਪਾਰੇ, ਹਰੀਅੰ ਕਰਿਅੰ ਨਿਰਨਾਮੇ ਅਕਾਮੇ। ਗੋਬਿੰਦੇ ਮੁਕੰਦੇ ਉਦਾਰੇ ਅਪਾਰੇ, ਹਰੀਅੰ ਕਰਿਅੰ ਨਿਰਨਾਮੇ ਅਕਾਮੇ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਸ੍ਰੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। Maharaj Kirpa. Today we're going to do Vichar of continue with the Panjwa Adhyay and do Vichar of Dohra from 12 to 21. So Maharaj is going to explain through how Brahm and Jagat is one and the same thing too, by giving different analogies, by giving different examples. So Guru explains that if you take an example of a statue. So this statue could be made of a cloth or let's say a mud or plastic. So if you have any statue at home, it would be a good example to literally observe that that statue is made of, let's say there is a statue made of some kind of clothing material. So in that statue, in that structure, it's given different body parts as well, different using different threads and different arms, legs. All these structure is formed. So Maharaj says, "Ek tant bin nahi bio." So if you notice that there is actually all thread, without the actual material, the cloth is the same, even if it looks different, even if the doll looks different or the statue looks different. Or take an example of a toy that's made from plastic. It all looks different, but that element it's all made of is one only. So same way, Paramatma, Akal Purakh, or the consciousness, it has formed itself in different statues, different murti, different characters. And these statues are different human beings, animals, all whatever we can perceive. But the one common thing, the consciousness, the Akal Purakh Jyot, is same in all. They look different. Somewhere it takes form of a female, somewhere it takes form of a male, but the Jyot, the consciousness, is the same in everyone. So Maharaj, that's what's saying, that even if it looks different, we see one as a male, we see one as a female, as a different kind of person, but the consciousness is same in all that, which has taken all the forms. Dekh khilone khand ke. Yeah, so what happens, Maharaj is saying that when a child, so oftentimes you might have noticed that a mother will bake some chocolate cookies in the form of toys for the child, so that the child can play with the toy as well. So just to encourage child to play with that chocolate toys. So when the child looks at that chocolate, the toys that are made of that pudding or the chocolate, and he obviously enjoys it. He's looking at and he's playing with all these different toys. And when he has this desire of consuming it because it's made of chocolate, so he gets this desire of eating it as well. So what happens? The chocolate gets dissolved in the child. Obviously, as we know, the process of how the digestion works as well, we have a desire to eat certain type of food. But if you really observe, it's the taste buds that's doing the craving. You don't have a craving of your own. Whatever you've been eating from all your lifelong, that becomes your desire or the cravings for certain type of food. So what's really happening is when we desire some kind of food, through the process of we chew with our teeth, then it gets dissolved in the body, and the body takes the nutrition out of it, and then it expels the rest, the waste product as a waste. So where did the food go? It just became, so that's why it's called the five elements, that food became part of the body. So the body became what we eat. So the body becomes from the food that we eat. So same way, what it means is that it's destructible. Just like how a child eats the toys, it gets destructed and there is no toy left. Same way, the food that we consume is destructible too. Laheo na sud. So Mara says, whoever has not known their sarup, that their akal Brahm sarup, that person has not achieved anything. Now, that's a very big statement Maharaj is making, that even if you're the top scientist, the top engineer, whatever status you might hold in life, if you have not known who you are, your Atam Avastha, Atam Sarup, then you actually haven't understood anything. Sakha dala sinchat raheo. Hmm. And that person has only what the person, when we don't know our saru, what's happening is we are only watering. It's like we are only watering the branches and the leaves of a tree, but we never bother to water the root. Now we know that that's actually just a, it doesn't make sense to not water the root and just to keep watering the branches or the leaves of the tree. So what it means is the tree is not going to grow. There is no much benefit that's going to happen. Same way Maharaj is saying, whoever has, when we don't know who we are, our Atam Sarup, we are just wasting the time because all these things that we are watering are Nashwan. They're going to get destroyed. So that's why Maharaj gives example of when someone does Murti Puja of Devi Devte. So Maharaj relates that when someone is doing puja of Devi Devte in the Murti form, it's like watering the branches and leaves. Which what it means is it's only gonna it's like watering the agyanta, not understanding the real the tat behind it. Now it is important to understand this does not mean that it is wrong to worship uh, statues or doing puja of Devi Devte. That's why oftentimes we start doing debate of it that Maharaj in Gurbani said not to worship stones. So in here Maharaj gives Pangti, Kahe ko pujat pahan ko, kach pahan mein parmesar nahi. That why are you worshipping a statue? The Paramatma is not there. So oftentimes we take this Pangti and debate with those who do Murti Puja. Maharaj is not just saying that don't do Murti Puja. Maharaj is saying no, see the one in the Murti as well. This doesn't mean that we should argue with those who are doing Murti Puja. Someone who has the power, if someone let's say does puja of Ganesh Murti, and if that person with Kripa of Guru starts seeing Ganesh in everyone, right? Even if that person never even come across Gurbani, if that person starts seeing Ganesh in everyone, that person will get Brahm Gyan as well. So Maharaj is saying, see the one in everyone. But when we see Murti of Ganeshji, we think that's a separate Devi. When we see Murti of Krishnji or all other Devi Devte, anyone, because we are seeing with the label of duality, we don't understand the one consciousness that's actually within all of them. So that's why we see them as separate and we start debating about that Ganesh is better than the other Devi, Devte, and all that. Now, it is important to understand that why do we feel attracted? Sometimes some people feel more attracted towards certain Devi Devte. The reason we are liking those Devte are because of the qualities in them. The qualities that we see in one Devi or Devte, we like that quality. That's why we start worshipping them. So we admire that quality. But the question is, where is all that quality coming from? It's coming from the same Akal Purakh. That quality can be in everyone. That's why in our um, body as well, all the Devi Devte reside in the body too. Because when we become one with Akal Sarup, all the qualities naturally come to within the body as well. All the Brahma, the Shakti of Brahma, that's creating the cells. So that is the Shakti of Brahma because the Brahma is the creator. So if you really take example of your body, because it's important to understand Paramatma from this own day level rather than going outward. It is important to understand from within. So these different qualities are constantly happening in Sato, Raju, Tamo Gun. They are constantly happening. So Mara says, see that all these qualities belong to one Akal Purakh only. So don't see them as separate and don't do comparison that one is better than the other because they all belong to the one Paramatma only. Dohra, jaise sanche sanche. Okay. Yeah. So if like how when a gold is molded in different jewelry. When you take the when the jewelry is created, it is the same gold that is being molded into earrings, necklaces, all different jewelry. But the gold is same. Now, what happened really? It is the same exactly. There has been no component that's been changed. It's not one ornament is better than the other, but because we don't see the gold in that, we think we find one ornament precious than the other. But when we see the one gold in that, we would know the sat of it. Nana, same way, Maya Dipadi, Milab Hun. Yeah. So same way, Paramatma, the Brahm, what Brahm did it's taken all these different upadhi, the different statuses. Somewhere it is a male, female, a child, um, adult, teenager, all these different statuses. Somewhere it is taken a form of uh, like teacher, a student. So all this is the form of this one Brahm that has taken all the statuses. Now, when you remove all these statuses, now question to ask um, oneself here is, who are you if you are not this person? When you were a child, you were still present. So it means right now you wouldn't call yourself a child. Because now, right now, most of us are in an adult body. It means we are not a child anymore. But what changed was the body. We literally didn't change. So same way, right now the body is in this age. Tomorrow, in few years, it's gonna get old, and one day it's gonna die. So that's why Mara says that this is how the Brahm takes all these forms and has taken different forms in Anek. Anek means literally countless. मृद मिट्टी विकार बदल के हाँ जी. So another analogy Maharaj gives is about how you can form different utensils from one mud. So it's the same one clay that takes form of different utensils. And then when it goes through a certain process through through the heating transformation, they take another form. But the very root cause or the root was clay only. Pani badal, yeah. And what happens? Same example of a water turning into ice cubes. So when the water turns into certain temperature, reaches a certain temperature, it transforms into ice cubes. But what happens that the water is the same only. It's the form that has changed. Saga badal ke, yeah. So look, all the clothing that we wear, it is from the same thread. So Maharaj is saying that the thread, after changing its structure, after going through certain process, it takes the form of a cloth. But the taga, the thread is the same. If you look at the clothing, it's made of thread only. So we can't really say that this is a different piece of cloth. It is thread itself. Same way, the Atma, Paramatma, Maharaj says no Paramatma like this. So this is Manana Karma. Maharaj says accept it. Now it is time that you fully accept it, that whatever you see is Sab Gobind hai. There is literally no separate you as well. It's all one Paramatma playing all the characters, who's taken all the forms as well. So in reality, when all the agyan is removed, Maharaj says, accept this fully now that it is all Paramatma. You just see it as different because there is still agyanta in the buddhi. That's why you're seeing other people as separate to yourself. But as your Atma, when you get Gyan of your Atma Sarup, everywhere you will know that it is the same Atma. Now, it is important to question from our own body perception as well. The air that we breathe in, the same person is breathing in. There is no difference between the air in there. Same way, all our body organs are made from the same particles, atoms, or even the five elements. And the awareness that we have in us is not separate to someone else. It's the same awareness that's happening. It's connected. There is no difference in there. So, what is really separation? Is separation even a thing? Or is duality even a thing? Because it's all connected, there is no difference. So the Sat is that everything is Paramatma only. There was never a second thing in this whole world. देखियो रज में सरपत. So Maharaj says, like, let's say you're going in the darkness, in the dark at night, and then you step over some kind of rope, and you get scared because you can't see it. You think it's a snake. So what happens? We get scared, and when we will put torch on it, we will realize that hang on, it's actually not the snake. It was just a rope, and I was being scared for no reason. Same example. Let's say there is a chopped tree and we are walking in the night and we look at the tree and we think that there is someone sitting there, like hiding there. So we might think that that person is there to rob us. But when we go closer by, or let's say we use a torch to look at the object, we will see that actually it was just a tree. Now observe these things in your day to day life, because it is important to see how the mind creates fear from the things that the mind does not understand. The fear of unknown is there. And that unknown is the buddhi, the intellect says that I don't know what this thing is. So the first instinct is fear because it is something unknown. But when one realizes, has darshan of their Atam Sarup, then they know that everything is, there is no death, there is no birth even. So everything becomes a kal there. Rajat Bicharyo Sukhat mein. Mara says, take example of oyster. Now, the oyster, when you look from a certain angle, or let's say from certain distance, when the sun rays are falling on it, we might think that there is very precious pearl in it, like some kind of hire moti in that oyster. But the truth is that's just the oyster, the animal in it, right? But because of that rays of the light, what happens when someone looks at that, they might think, oh, I just found a pearl, expensive pearl. So Mara says lalach jagya, the mind instantly thinks that I have found a pearl, but the truth is it was just an animal. So that information that told you that that's actually animal, not a pearl, that is guru, that is the gyan, the the knowledge. Payo bugara baat mein. Yeah. So if you have, if you take example of tornado, now tornadoes is at the end of the day, it's just air. It's just taken another form, and because of the pressure, certain pressure qualities. I'm not much of a science person, so I'm not really going to be able to explain this well. But due to some pressure, atmospheric pressure changes, the tornado takes place. But eventually, the tornado is just air, right? So, same way Maharaj says, the ag as well, the spark that's coming from the fire, is it separate from the fire or is it the spark same as the fire? It's that's what Maharaj is saying. It's not separate. The spark, the tornado is air, and the spark from the fire is fire only. Just because it looks different or it looks less destructible or more destructible doesn't mean it's different. Same way, Jeev is Paramatma only. Just because he's in Agyanta doesn't mean it's less of Paramatma. Yeah. So seed. Another example is to of the seed. How from a tiny seed, a big, like obviously it gives birth to this huge, massive tree. Now the question is, where did this tree come from? Now, it's such a small seed that gives birth to that tree. It means all the qualities that we see in a tree, the fruit, the flowers, everything, it was already the qualities in present in the seed, right? That's what it gave birth to that tree. So Mara says that tree is not separate to the seed. Same way, the ocean is not separate to water. The ocean, the very element the ocean is made of is water. And if you see the middle part of the ocean, that's water as well. We call that as ocean too. So when the air strikes the ocean surface, the what happens? The waves are formed. And when we look at the waves, we call it as wave. But what's happening is that the air strikes the surface and that gives form um, to the waves. And when the evaporation happens, it changes into rain. Now, the truth is that it is the water only that changed the form, that changed into waves through when the air stroke against it and when it reaches the droplets as well. So Mara says there is no difference between that wave, the ocean, they both are form of water. Same way, Jeev, Paramatma, consciousness, when the air strikes through, goes through the body and it hits the surface, it gives birth to thoughts. That's why Maharaj in Gurbani says, Pavana Guru. This pavan that is flowing within the body is the Guru because when it moves, it gives birth to so many thoughts as well. But because we see them as separate, we don't see the Akal Purak, the one Sarup, that it is all Paramatma. It's water only. It is the divine consciousness only that's just changed its form when the air became in touch with that. Hanji. Next, Mare gives example. Um, so let's say we can understand this. For example, if you have ever seen or heard about a sugar pill. So let's first of all understand there is some kind of tablet, and it's coated with a bit of a bitter flavor. And when you consume it, and you realize actually it was made of sugar. So first of all, we thought it's going to be bitter, but when we taste it, we realized that it is sweet. So Mara said that was the param, that of understanding that it was a bitter thing. The sugar pill, if we have ever come across that, if you take a child who if you take a child to the doctor and the child might say, the parent might say he's just throwing tantrum, he's actually not sick, but he believes he's sick. So the doctor might give that child a sugar pill. So what's happening is the child will take the sugar pill. There is no medicine in it, nothing, no effect that that pill is going to cause. But the child thinks, actually, sometimes doctors give it to adults too. So the person thinks that I'm going to consume this sugar pill. This is a medicine. And my all the diseases are going to get whatever symptoms I'm having, they're going to settle down. Now, and it does settle down. What happened is the belief, the patient or the child, they believe that this pill is gonna cure their symptoms. But the truth is, it was just a placebo effect. There was no such qualities in that pill that could have cured that person's symptoms. So Mara says that that's how the the manana, the acceptance of gyan is important. That when we accept it, then the Paramatma is gonna reveal itself. It's not hidden, so it's gonna the realization is going to happen in that instant, that and the whole truth gets revealed in there. Anji, Pavak mein Deepak kane. Just like Mara says, just like how one candle or one Deepak has a quality to ignite rest. So you can use one candle to ignite hundred thousands of different candles. And when the Akash, the space element, when that space element is present in a kada, in a pot, that a different name is given to that space element. But that space element is not different. Same way, again, Mare giving example of pani, that when the pani at a certain temperature changes into the ice form or iceberg, but the very instant the information there is that it is water only, it is the fire only, it's just is capable of doing changing its form. इसी तरह the jug is atam roop, paripuran. Same way Mara says the atam roop has taken different forms and it just appears different. सत्य कहूँ तो है नहीं, मिथ्या कहूँ तो आहे. कहे अनाथ अचरज महा, अकह कहिए काहे. Mara says, now this is such a bizarre, astonishing thing that if I call this Jagat, if I call this Jagat as such, then I know that I can't even call it such because I know it's constantly changing. I know that from birth to death, if we really notice everything around us, it's constantly changing. So Mara says that I can't even call it Sat because it's always changing, nor I can call it Chut. So Chut means that which does not exist. So Mara says I can't even call it Chut because it is there. I can very much perceive it. I can very much see with my eyes. So it is such an astonishing thing that I can't even call it Sat. I can't even call it Chut. So Maharaj Kirpa, this is it's the Sampurnata of the Panjwa Adhyay, and we will take Vishram here. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.